Okay, so look, it's about to rain and my birds are waiting for me to feed them, so I'm going to try to make this quick, all right? So, since the launching of this illegal, immoral, and unconscionable war in Iran, I've noticed a lot of lamentation coming from the right-wing, let's call them the right-wing intelligentsia, or the conservative intellectual elite of the movement who've signed on to the Saggy Caesars movement and have tried in their intellectual capacity to ascribe some kind of ideological consistency to what the Saggy Caesar represents. And they do this whenever the Saggy Caesar does something that seems to contradict what they thought was his ideological center, his ideological parameters. For instance, his ideological and rhetorical claims of not wanting to get involved in foreign wars and regime change wars, and then gets involved in foreign wars and regime changes. So he does this thing, and then the right-wing and the conservative intellectuals have to stumble all over themselves and do all kinds of ideological calisthenics to try to figure out how this fits into the overall ideology of what they're calling Trumpism. I'm going to call Saggy Caesarism because I don't like using the dude's name. Right? So exactly what is Saggy Caesarism? They're trying to figure that out. Look, and listen to me. The non-intellectuals, the MAGA base, they understand exactly what this is all about. They're not confused at all. It's only the intellectuals who have overthought this movement and are trying to create some kind of, philosophical boundaries that define this phenomenon. Look, it's not hard. It's not hard. Saggy Caesarism is the vehicle by which the Saggy Caesar satisfies his selfish, egotistical, and materialistic needs and wants. That's all it is. And he is going to act according to at least his perception of what those needs and wants are, without regard to any kind of ideological, philosophical, or theoretical consistency. He doesn't care about that stuff. He cares about himself and enriching himself and empowering himself. That's all it is. That's all it is. Now, I know a lot of leftists have liked to ascribe to him the label of fascist. Whereas his movement is a fascist movement, he himself is not a fascist. He couldn't care less about the ideology behind what people are ascribing to what he does. He doesn't care about that stuff. If he can enrich himself by a left-wing strategy, he'll do that. A centrist strategy, he'll do that. That's what he's all about. Enriching and empowering himself. There's no purism. There's no ideology. There's no philosophy. There is, however, a consistent rhetoric. This consistent rhetoric is designed to mobilize the MAGA base, to mobilize the movement that sustains him. That's the only consistency. So what is that rhetoric? That rhetoric is, look guys, the reason why your life sucks is because of those people. And look, he doesn't have the courage to actually stand up to the actual powerful elements in the society. In fact, he wants to oblige himself to he's always wanted to be a part of the economic elite, and they've never really liked him, and they've never really let him in, with the possible exception of Jeffrey Epstein, and we know all that, how that worked out. And even Jeffrey Epstein thought he was a dick. So look, he is trying to ingratiate himself with the most powerful. So those people are not the millionaires and the billionaires who are rigging our politics and who are destroying the economy for working class people. No. Those people are the racial and ethnic minorities, the gender and sexual minorities, women, and the liberal and leftist movements that try to sustain and equalize power for those groups. It's those people. Those people are the source of your misery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make those people suffer. I'm going to make those people hurt. I'm going to kill those people if necessary. You understand? Now, I'm not actually going to do anything for you. I'm going to hurt those people. So your life isn't really going to improve in any realistic way, but at least you get the satisfaction of knowing that those people whom you resent are hurting and suffering and in their place. That's what saggy Caesarism is all about. The bullying and scapegoating, and this is where his movement aligns with fascism, the bullying and the scapegoating of those people to whip up support among the most resentful and bigoted and authoritarian members of our society, so that he is lifted up into a position where he can pursue his self-interests. That is the beginning and the end of saggy Caesarism. That's what it's all about. If you look at all of the seemingly senseless actions that he participates in, they make sense when you apply this definition to the Trumpism ideology, the saggy Caesarist ideology. This is all it's about. We shouldn't overthink it.